Hi guys, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about the latest releases from the Babbitt factory in the USA, in saxophone mouthpiece terms that is. And we have here a Meyer Brothers New York Connoisseur mouthpiece, and we have here an Otto Link early Babbitt Connoisseur mouthpiece. Okay, so these are about double the price of the regular Otto Links, the regular tone edge and a regular standard Meyer hard rubber mouthpiece. And the idea is that the Babbitt factory are basically producing a re-release of the classic mouthpieces that people know and love from those ages. So in terms of the Meyer, made famous around 1960 through to the early 70s, the New York piece, and you can see it's got this metal banding on here as well, which was also made famous by Cannonball Adderley. I believe the story was it wasn't the standard thing that the Meyer brothers were doing to produce these metal collars, but he had a split in this part of the mouthpiece, and so they put this on just to secure his mouthpiece and you know, make sure that it held itself together and had some integrity again. So that was the Cannonball story. And the idea is that these go through the standard molds in the Babbitt factory, but they're the original molds that they used back then, and then these mouthpieces are hand finished to produce an exquisite result. So yes, they're worth about, as I say, double the price of the regular mouthpieces that come from that factory, because the Babbitt factory has a massive output of mouthpieces on an annual basis. You know, produces, if you like, upgrade mouthpieces for the majority of saxophone students around the country. It's really famous for its standard Meyers and its standard Otto Links. So it's nice when they produce a mouthpiece that's just a cut above the norm. So let's put it into the comparison booth. I'm going to immediately start on the Alto, play a little bit on this, and then to put it in some context, I will then play just a standard Meyer and see what the differences are. So to me, right there with this second one, which was the standard Meyer medium chamber mouthpiece, there was a fair bit more resistance there in the sound and a certain amount of added oomph and weight in the sound, something for me to push through. It was overall, I suppose you would say, it's a slightly darker sound. And Meyer New York's, the first one I played, they were notorious for having that extra little bit of edge. I think there's a bit more baffle going on, and I'm sure that the chamber size is slightly different as well. But overall, the feeling on the Meyer is that it was a very free blowing. Sorry, on the New York, is that it's a very free blowing, free speaking mouthpiece that articulates very cleanly. There's a lot of pop there, particularly on the top notes. So they both have that common characteristic that all Meyers have, this lovely smoothness in the sound. It seems like a perfect mouthpiece for alto, the Meyer mouthpiece. I've always thought that. There's something about the balance of harmonics in the tone of the Meyers that just make it perfectly lend itself to the alto saxophone, more than the other instruments really, you know, soprano and tenor and all the rest of it. But there are differences clearly that you can hear between the two, and it is a really nice mouthpiece. Let's just pick it up again so I can get inspired when I'm talking about it. Now, whether you would say that the sound is thinner on this, please let me know in the comments, because it'd be interesting to know how it comes across in the video. But for me, I still found that there was enough weight of sound in this new Meyer New York re-release. And I think, if anything, with that extra bite and attack in the sound, it's going to make it more suitable for playing out and about when you're trying to compete with other instruments. If you do want a little bit more cut, it's going to work in big bands, anything like that. So if you find that the standard stock Meyer, when you try one in a store and you find it's just a little bit too on the tubby side, perhaps a little bit too traditional, and you just want to push the boat out a little bit more, this new Connoisseur mouthpiece could be just the ticket for you. So that's the alto side of things. Let's move on to tenor and see what we've got in store for us there. Well, the differences between the two tenor mouthpieces, as you can hear right there, differences are really stark. I mean, this last one here, the standard tenor, as I've mentioned in previous videos, it's a lovely warm sound, don't get me wrong, really nice dark sound, but it is quite fluffy and unfocused, whereas on the new Connoisseur EB, early Babbitt, let's just hold it for the camera one more time so you can get a look at that. The sound is so much sparkier. There's a lot more cut to it, a lot more thrust, and a lot of it is down to the, well, it's all really down to the internal geometry. And of course, I mentioned there's some hand finishing going on there as well, just to really refine that result. But it makes such a huge difference when you have a certain amount of baffle here, and I really feel that Otto Links are at their best when they perform like this. So just to rewind slightly, a little bit of history, the early Babbitt tenor mouthpieces were out in 1975. They lasted for about 5 years. They did a run then, and they sort of retained certain amounts of characteristics of the Florida mouthpieces that came before them in terms of the baffle and various other aspects. And you can see why it's a desirable mouthpiece, because when it has playing characteristics that allow the player to project as well as have that warmth and sound, these are all the things that tenor players look for. It's the number one thing I hear said to me in conversation. I'm looking for that body and warmth of sound, but also I need it to project and cut through. And then it's just in different doses of these two things that work alongside each other that people look for. So I believe that those, in terms of those two characteristics, this early Babbitt mouthpiece does the trick very nicely. So that pretty much wraps it up on these new Babbitt mouthpieces in this video. You can come and find these mouthpieces in our London store if you want to have a play testing session. Equally, you will find them on our website for purchase. There we go. I shall hope to catch you on the next video. If you enjoyed the video, once again, give us a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed, please do so. Thank you very much.